The galaxy is vast, home to countless species, each with its own strengths and vulnerabilities. Among them are the predators fierce, territorial, and proud. They rule their corners of the universe with unyielding strength, and among the most formidable are the Tharnax, apex predators known for their intelligence, cunning, and an unshakable code of secrecy. For the Tharnax, vulnerability is weakness, and no weakness is more perilous than their cubs. To protect them, they enforce an unspoken rule: no outsider may approach, much less interact with their young. Humans new to this galactic society had much to prove. Physically unimpressive, they lacked the natural advantages of other species. No claws, no fangs, no speed or size to inspire fear or admiration. Instead, humans relied on something far less tangible: their adaptability, creativity, and inexplicable tendency to form bonds across species and cultures. While some admired these traits, many predator species found them unnerving. To the Tharnax, humans were unpredictable, a dangerous quality in a world where survival often depended on understanding and controlling your environment. Stories about humans circulated through the galactic preserve. Some said they were reckless, throwing themselves into situations without understanding the risks. Others said they were overly sentimental, unable to comprehend the harsh realities of predator life. The Tharnax watched them from a distance, their golden eyes narrowing with suspicion. What purpose did these fragile creatures serve? What role could they play in a society where strength dictated respect? In the sprawling preserve, interactions between species were common, but trust was not. It was one thing to share territory or resources. It was another to share vulnerability. When Tharnax cubs were spotted playing near human settlements, the adults would intervene, their massive forms blocking any potential interaction. To the Tharnax, humans couldn't possibly understand the instinctive bond between predator and offspring, the raw, primal drive to protect. How could a species that had no claws or fangs to defend its own young ever grasp what it meant to risk everything for survival? Humans, for their part, seemed undeterred by the cold reception. They offered assistance when needed, shared knowledge about the preserve's complex ecosystems, and even went out of their way to avoid actions that might be misinterpreted as threatening. Yet the barriers remained, unspoken but unbreakable. Still, there were moments, fleeting and fragile, that hinted at something deeper. A human researcher pausing to observe a Tharnax cub from afar, sketching its form with quiet respect. A Tharnax hunter watching as humans gently nursed an injured bird, their touch careful and deliberate. These moments didn't erase centuries of distrust, but they planted seeds of curiosity. The preserve continued its rhythm, a delicate balance of cooperation and isolation. But beneath the surface, tension simmered, waiting for the moment when the unyielding skepticism of the predators would collide with humanity's quiet resolve. The Tharnax watched, the question unspoken but ever-present: could these fragile creatures ever prove themselves worthy of trust? The aftermath was marked by an unusual stillness. The preserve, once alive with movement and sound, now seemed subdued. Smoke lingered in the air, and the ground bore the scars of the disaster. Yet amidst the wreckage, life persisted. The cubs, frightened but unharmed, huddled close to their parents. For the Tharnax, relief mingled with confusion and unease. Their young were safe, but not because of their own strength. It was the humans, those strange, fragile beings, who had achieved the impossible. The Tharnax leader, a towering figure with piercing golden eyes, observed the humans from a distance. They moved among their injured, tending to wounds with a precision that seemed almost ritualistic. There was no boasting, no demand for recognition. They worked silently, their faces betraying only exhaustion and quiet satisfaction. It was a behavior the Tharnax found alien. In their world, strength was demonstrated, victories proclaimed. Yet these humans seemed content to fade into the background, as though their actions required no acknowledgement. A mother Tharnax, her cub nestled protectively under her massive paw, hesitated before approaching one of the humans. The cub, curious despite the ordeal, peered out and let out a soft chirp. The human paused, their gaze meeting the mother's. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, to the shock of the onlookers, the Tharnax mother lowered her head in a gesture of gratitude. This single act sent ripples through the predator community. The Tharnax, known for their pride and guarded nature, rarely displayed such openness, especially toward outsiders. But something about the humans had shifted their perspective. Perhaps it was the selflessness with which they had acted, or the way they treated the cubs as if they were their own. Whatever the reason, the barriers of distrust were beginning to erode. The predators began to notice other details about the humans. How they worked as a unit, their movements fluid and coordinated. How they seemed to anticipate one another's needs without speaking. How they prioritized the lives of others, even at great personal risk. These traits, so unlike their own, sparked a new kind of curiosity. The Tharnax, accustomed to valuing only strength and survival, found themselves questioning the very foundation of their beliefs. The leader, still wary but undeniably intrigued, decided to test the humans further. One evening, they allowed a human to approach their cubs under their watchful eye. The human knelt slowly, their movements careful and deliberate. One of the cubs, bold and unafraid, padded forward, sniffing curiously at the outstretched hand. When the cub nuzzled against the human's palm, a collective gasp rippled through the predators. This moment, simple yet profound, marked a turning point. For the first time, the Tharnax began to see humans not as weak or unpredictable, but as something else entirely. They were protectors, not through strength or dominance, but through compassion and an unwavering will to do what was right. It was a concept both foreign and deeply compelling, and it left the Tharnax with a realization they could no longer ignore. These humans, in their own quiet way, were extraordinary,